Alright, so this will be a solve on David Pitcher's Star of the Seven puzzle. In honor of the final season of Game of Thrones, which is well underway, I thought it'd be a good idea to finally give this a solve. And the Star of the Seven is just basically a religious sept, and this is just the symbol of that sept within the show. And now it's turned into a physical puzzle, so that's pretty cool. Alright, so how I go about solving this is there are 4 steps. First, I solve these small triangles, which is extremely intuitive. So the next, which is probably the most difficult step, it's not too awful, but it can make you think a little bit, is I solve the long star beams. And there are a few cases for the final 2 star beams that you can run into, and I'll go through both cases. I'll explain how to get through each scenario. And then the third step is to place the banana pieces. I call them bananas since they kind of resemble a banana. We won't care about the orientation of them because that's the 4th and final step, which is to flip the banana pieces. And so the algorithms that I use, there are only 3 that you need to learn, and all of them are extremely simple. They are very, very easy to solve or to memorize. And so 2 of them are to swap the bananas around, and 1 of them will flip the banana pieces. So I'll go through those algorithms right now, and they'll be in the description written out. So when I perform these algorithms, I always have one of the star beams pointed directly at me. That way I have, a true U move. Because if I didn't have one pointed directly at me, then I wouldn't really have a good U move. They're kind of on the side, like this. So one of the star beams pointed directly at me. The first one will swap 3 of the bananas. It will swap this one, and this one. And all that is R, U, R, U. And that's it. So these 3 got swapped with each other. And now, when I'm writing the algorithms out, I'm only going to be referring to this as a single R move. I won't say, 2R or 2U, since that would imply that you can do a single R move, and you can't do that on this puzzle, since you're limited to only 180-degree turns. So this will just be R, and this will be U. And then R, U. So that moved those around. And then one more time, we'll get them back. R, U, R, U. And that's that. The next one, we'll swap. It'll be 2 sets of 2. So these 2 will swap, and these 2 will swap. So a total of 4 bananas will be involved. And all that is RL, U, and then repeat that. RL, U. Simple as that. So these 2 swapped with each other, and these 2 swapped. So again, RL, U, RL, U. And it's back. And the final one, the final algorithm, flips 4 of the bananas. It will flip these 4. And so that involves an R move and this kind of hybrid U and R move. So when it's written out, this move right here, it's kind of an upper R move. since it's above, the regular R. So I'll just write it out as a small u and then a big R. So kind of upper R. So all this algorithm is R upper R times 6. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So as you can see, all of them stayed in place, but they just flipped. And so to get it back, R upper R times 6, that's 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, that's all you need to know about how to solve this puzzle. So now we will scramble it. Again, this puzzle isn't too terribly hard. It's mostly intuitive, but it can make you think a little bit, especially getting the star beams in. There are a few cases where it's kind of tricky, but again, it's just all intuitive. And this is also one of those rare puzzles where it's a heptagon. You kind of get a heptagon symmetry, 7 axes of rotation. It's a very strange puzzle. Okay, I think that's a pretty good scramble. All right, so now the solve. So first thing I do, again, I just get in the small triangles. And this is really easy since these triangles don't actually scramble. All they do is just rotate. So just like that. They only have 2 positions, either right here or right here. So just like that. So if you see one is incorrect, all you need to do is just rotate that axis and it's solved. So just like that. And that is step 1. So the next step will be to get in these star beams. And so I just look for one that's already matched with its correct face. So I'm just going to start with this one for reference. I wouldn't want to start with this one since this is gold on silver, but just start with any of them that's already flipped correctly. I could start with this one or this one. It doesn't matter at all, but I'll just start with this one just because. So what I do is I like to build the star beams going clockwise. That's just kind of how I've always done it. But it doesn't matter. You can go counterclockwise if you want. So I see this is red, so that means this one has to be red. So I look for the other star beam that has red on it, and it's right here. So all I do is I can do these 4 moves to move it around. And you want to make sure you always undo those moves, just so you don't accidentally leave one not undone, and then that gold piece will be incorrect. So always undo what you've done. So this red needs to come up here. So I can put this one down, move this in place, put the red back up, and place it in. So now those 2 reds are good to go. And now it is possible to come across a case where the star beam is in its correct place, but it's just flipped. So all that means is if this were to be flipped, I put it in from this direction, going clockwise, But if it were flipped, I would need to put it in going counterclockwise. I'm sure I'll run into that case, and I'll explain how to get through that. So anyways, orange is right here, so orange needs to go right there, the other orange. So I'm looking, here's the other orange. So we can just move this around. Needs to go right there. And that's correct now. So yellow, the other yellow goes right here, and it's right here. But as you can see, it's flipped. So what we do in this situation is we just need to put it in going the other direction. So let's put it back where it was. And now what I like to do is I like to get, since this is the piece we're looking at, I like to get it as close as I can. I like to get it as close as I can to the solved pieces. So that position would be right here. So let's get this right here. Okay, so it's right here, right next to all the solved pieces. And it needs to go right here. So we're going to kind of destroy things a little bit. So we can just move this up. And now where it needs to go is right here. So we can just set this up. So it goes right here. And we can just move it over, put the correct piece in, move it back. And now the yellows are matched up. And we just turn that back. Okay, and now we need to undo these moves since the gold triangles are up now. So always go back in the direction you came from. So we came from this way, put it in, now we need to go back. So just undo it going that direction. And now things are a little bit messed up, but not too horribly messed up. Things got a little bit misplaced. So again, I like to resolve everything going this way again now. Since we went this way, kind of destroyed everything coming this way, and now we can solve it going this way. So I see orange is right here. The other orange needs to go right there. And it's just right there. And the good thing about fixing all this is that you'll never be more than just a few moves away. It's a pretty easy fix. So then one more piece to fix is the red, which is just right here. So we can do this. And it's solved. So now everything is restored and we're good to go. All right, so let's go ahead and put this purple in right here, or right here rather. Okay, so we're going to end up with, we've ended up with a case where two are flipped, since this one's actually correct. But these two are in their correct spots, but they're flipped. So this is one of the two cases, or one of the three rather, that you can end up with the final two star beams. The three cases are: one, it can be solved and you won't have any problems and you'll be done with this step. The second one is where these two, or two of them, will be flipped. And the third case will be they're oriented correctly. Two pieces will be oriented correctly, but they just need to swap with each other. And so I'll go through the other case where they just need to swap. But since I have this one, I'll go ahead and explain how to get through this one. Since they need to be flipped, well, either case we're kind of destroying everything we've done. But if we flip them correctly, then that would mean that we would fix that parity. And so we could just continue from there without having to worry about the flipped edge parity or the swapped edge parity. So this piece is in its correct spot, but it does need to be flipped. So that means we'll just need to go around the puzzle completely and put it in correctly. And then we'll just kind of build everything off of this piece. So purple and blue. So this is the piece that's going to be our building block once we get it flipped. So I just like to go around clockwise. And just move it around. And keep in mind that it goes right here. And just don't worry about everything we're destroying. Okay, so it's right here, and it needs to go right there. So we'll put it in like this. Okay, so now it's flipped correctly. And now we went around this way, destroyed everything, going clockwise. So now we'll need to restore everything going counterclockwise. But all we're really restoring are these gold triangles. Okay, and so for the last one, be careful. Since the purple and blue piece is our building block, we can't just move this like that, because that will mess up the purple and blue. So we'll need to bump it out of the way, fix that gold star, and then put it back. All right. So now that will fix the two flipped edges or star beams. So we don't have to worry about that as long as we just build off of this. So we see purple's good, matching with red, orange, yellow. And you can see we've run into the case where two now need to be swapped. No, they're flipped. Okay, so apparently it didn't completely fix it since I still have two flipped edges. But again, like I mentioned, the weird symmetry with this puzzle, the weird parity it has, it can be like just really like, it's unlike any puzzle I've really solved. So I just do that move until it gets fixed. That whole journey to flip it. So again, this needs to be flipped. It goes right here. So we'll just go around the puzzle again. And hopefully it gets solved this time. So it's right here, and it needs to go right here. So now it's flipped, and then we just restore everything going in the opposite direction. And then as you can see, this one still needs to be solved, but we need to protect this one. So we'll just bump it out of the way, go up. Okay. So now that's flipped. And then all of them are good, except for these two, which just need to be turned like that. So I think what the problem I had was the two pieces that were flipped before were actually right here and right here. But that time they were right next to each other. So those two flipped, but so that was the problem I had. So since they were right next to each other, they both flipped, but my other parts, these two were flipped. So only one of them got flipped and the other got flipped. So this one stayed flipped and this one got flipped while doing those moves. So if you have two flipped stars, make sure they're right next to each other. And if they're not, if they're like, you know, right here or right here, you can just do that series of moves, and you can, and that way that'll get two that are right next to each other. Alright, so apparently, I swear you can get two that are swapped. They're oriented correctly, but they just need to be swapped. And now I'm second guessing myself because I have been trying for the past 30 minutes to replicate it, and I just can't do it. So I'm honestly not entirely sure if you can anymore. Yeah, I tried re-scrambling it and nothing worked. Just trying to recreate it and nothing. I only got the case where two are flipped incorrectly. So I'm sure at some point it'll come up again and it won't be explained in this video. So if any of you end up coming across that situation where two star beams they're oriented correctly, they just need to flip with each other, let me know and I'll come back to it. I'll make like a separate video or something explaining how to get through that. But I don't know, I swear I've come across that case before and now I just can't do it right now. But anyways, we'll just continue with this. So next what we gotta do is we gotta place the bananas in correctly. We don't care about the orientation, just gotta get them in their correct spots. So I see this yellow banana come down right here. If I do the 3 banana swap, so R, U, R, U. So the yellow one got placed and the red one got placed as well. Okay, so let's see. I see this purple goes over here and that'll swap with this light blue. So that would mean I'll need to get this orange down here so it'll swap and get in place correctly. So now you probably will have to end up doing some setup moves since these two are correct, and I'll just need to get this down there. So what I can do is I can move this down. This is still correct, just rotated. And then this needs to come in right here. Alright, so now everything's in position. These two will swap, and these two will swap. So let's do that algorithm that will swap. Do 2 sets of swaps. So R, L, U, and R, L, U. Then we have to undo those setup moves. So that's and that's. Okay, now all of the bananas are in correctly. Now we just need to flip them. So there are a few cases you'll come across, but this is just kind of, you just need to do like a methodical approach where you just do the algorithm and it'll flip some correctly and flip some and put them out. But you just need to kind of figure out a placement where you'll end up with 4 that are flipped and they'll be right next to each other. That's what you want to end up with. So let's just kind of look around. Let's just say, for example, if I do it right here. So these 4 will flip. So this will be good. These 2 will be out, and this will be good. So at the end of the day, these 2 will be flipped, and these 2 will be flipped. But they're not next to each other. So let's not do it from there. What if I did it from here? That will flip, and that will flip. This will be solved, and that will flip. So all of them flipped except for this one. So maybe at least all the flip tones will be next to each other. That's still what we're looking for. If we did it from right here, this will flip and all these will be solved. So I'll have two next to each other. So I think that would be a better case, just to have two next to each other. So let's go ahead and do that from this position. So our upper U times 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so now we just have two next to each other. So let's see. If I do it from right here, all of these four will flip. And I'll have one that is solved. So yeah, let's do it from right here. So these four will flip. Okay. So this is kind of an example of the weird parity that this puzzle has. Because normally you wouldn't have all edges out except for one. So this is kind of a weird example of what's going on with this puzzle. You wouldn't normally find, only one edge flipped incorrectly, or all but one rather. So anyways, if I do it from here, this will flip to the solved edge and it will fix these. So that means this will be flipped, this will be flipped, this will be flipped, and then this one will flip. So I would have four next to each other, which is what I want. So let's do it from here. 5, 6. All right. So now we have four right next to each other, which is exactly what we want. So I can do it one more time and it'll be solved. And it's solved. So that is the Star of the Seven by David Pither. I'll post a link to his channel in the description, along with all the algorithms that I use. And again, if any of you do come across that situation, or I think it does happen, I swear it does, where you have two star beams that are oriented correctly, but they just need to swap with each other, then let me know and I'll come back to this. Because for whatever reason right now, I just can't seem to replicate that scenario. So yeah, thank you for watching.